So, is it possible to weaponise a coronavirus? That's the question I've been trying to answer since March, which is when I became sceptical of the official story. So I've been reading lots of medical and scientific journals to try and find out if it is possible to weaponise the common cold virus. I'd already ruled out the possibility of the virus having escaped from the laboratory in Wuhan because this particular laboratory has the highest security. It's a BL4, which means there are stringent measures in place. The staff have to shower before and after work, and the outside of the buildings are separated by a long corridor, which means a virus would have had to come out of a laboratory and travelled all the way down the corridor and out of the door. So I ruled that out pretty quickly. And this was one of the reasons why I ruled out the fact that COVID was a naturally occurring virus. It's because, I didn't see this until March, but this is from the 26th of January, when the headline says they're on to find the COVID vaccine, when there were only a few cases at this time. So I was immediately suspicious and thought something else must be going on. They must have known about it and released the news too early. After all, it was only the day before that the Daily Mail carried the headlines, "Is the killer virus here?" As I was searching for information on the virus in China, it surprised me to find that there were several other new viruses circulating at the same time. These were a few of the viruses that have been found in China over the last 12 months, and some have even been so bad that they've made headlines. There was a Longshan virus, which is usually only found in sheep and cattle, but in this instance it has transferred to humans, and it was found in Inner Mongolia in November 2019, and it was very close to one of China's research labs. Then we have the Jimennin virus, the JMTV, which is similar to the flaviviruses. Pneumonic plague, which causes symptoms very similar to COVID. There's the bubonic plague and human febrile illness in May 2019. There has also been evidence that there's a new strain of HIV, as it was found in a man who had been with another man. I did find it strange that all of these new viruses in China were around the areas where they have their research laboratories. While I'm on the topic of laboratories, I found a really interesting article. Now, I can't read it out for obvious reasons. The video here will be flagged immediately if I do. So I've left a link in the description. It's from a Dr. Boyle. I can't even say his name, I'm sure. But he thinks, like me, that it came from a laboratory, but by accident. It's definitely worth a read. But does China even have an active bioweapons program? Well, China says no, they're in accordance with the BWC, but the United States has information that they, even after they joined the BWC, their BW program remained active. According to Defence One, it's not only China's bioweapon program that we need to worry about, it's the fact that they are leading the world in artificial intelligence. So if you mix AI and biotech, you could get really nasty things come out. As it is, they've already edited an embryo, so they've made the world's first genetically modified human. As you know, if you type into any search engine, was COVID-19 bioengineered, you're going to get a negative reply. First of all, I totally believe that this virus looks as we're told it looks under a microscope. Otherwise, too many people would have to be in on the cover-up. So yes, I do believe that it's 30 kbs in length. I believe all that. And most of the time you just get a no, it doesn't look as if it's been cut and shut with another virus, which I accept. I found this article that says exactly that it hasn't been cut and shut, but there is a reply that says, but actually this doesn't rule out engineering, and this is from a fellow at King's College London. She says it just means that the virus wasn't engineered in specific ways. This article's from the Washington Post, and it was asking the question, was COVID-19 released on purpose because it was bioengineered? The answer is no, for a variety of reasons, both scientific and practical. It starts with the basic facts of virology and genetics. The very premise that a virus must be man-made simply because it's bad is the height of anthropocentric hubris. Nature has many millions of years making viruses, and it is most capable of making viral horrors on its own without help. When it comes to man-made viruses, this is a field that is only decades old. Laboratories do not create viruses as neatly or as handily as Mother Nature does, and it's easy enough to demonstrate that a given virus isn't some Frankenstein creation stitched together out of RNA or DNA from other things. For that is what a man-made virus looks like. Genetic analysis shows this virus is not man-made. Well, we've just learned that that isn't true, is it? You can alter a virus without it showing up under the microscope. But why choose a coronavirus if you wanted to release a bioweapon? Well, the answer's quite easy when you look around. Coronaviruses are listed as a Category C pathogen, which is the third highest priority and includes emerging pathogens that could be engineered for mass dissemination in the future, and the reasons are obvious when you know the answer. First of all, of its availability, you can easily get hold of it. Then it's the ease of production and dissemination, and lastly, the potential for high morbidity and mortality rates and major health impact. Well, this was my take on what I think is going on. There's one thing I am certain of though, I don't believe this virus is way as lethal as we're told. I think yes, it spreads very quickly, transmission rate is high, just like any cold, but I don't think it's killing as many people as we're led to believe. When I was at the hospital the other week, I was speaking to my nurse about it, and she told me the story of, I think this was a couple of months ago, a patient in his 80s, and he had fallen and broken his hip, spent 6 weeks in hospital, was discharged, and 2 months after he'd broken his hip he died, and on the death certificate they put COVID-19 because it showed he had pneumonia. But as she pointed out, many elderly people who break their hips die from pneumonia. We don't know why that is. Maybe it's because they're immobile and the fluid built up, but that is a well-known thing. And the nurse who queried the cause of death actually got fired. So I do think the death rates are being screwed with. In my next video, I'm going to try and work out why this is happening, on the proviso that this is a terrorist attack by whoever. So that will be coming soon. Also, I have hundreds of pages of info on it, so I will do my best to make it short and sweet.